When we imagine ancient Rome, we picture marble villas, powerful senators, and elegant banquets lit by flickering oil lamps. It feels refined, civilized, almost glamorous. But behind those polished columns and silk togas, the Roman elite lived by customs so disturbing that even modern historians sometimes hesitate to describe them fully. And the most unsettling part is this: these practices weren't hidden. They were admired, celebrated, and considered completely normal. The Roman upper class believed that power was proven not by kindness, but by dominance. Over bodies, over lives, over morality itself. Take Roman banquets, for example. To outsiders, they looked like sophisticated dinner parties. To insiders, they were competitions of excess. Guests reclined on couches while servants, many of them enslaved children, fed them food by hand. Vomiting was not an accident. It was a strategy. Special rooms existed where elite Romans would purge their stomachs so they could return to the table and keep eating. Hunger was irrelevant. The goal was indulgence without limits. And indulgence often went far beyond food. Elite Roman men were legally allowed to use enslaved people however they wished. Age, consent, and dignity were meaningless concepts when applied to slaves. What mattered was status. As long as a Roman citizen was dominant, society approved. Many powerful Romans considered restraint a weakness. Self-control was for the poor. Cruelty was also entertainment. Gladiator games weren't just public spectacles. They were social rituals for the elite. Wealthy Romans hosted private executions during dinner parties, forcing condemned prisoners to fight or be torn apart for amusement. Guests discussed philosophy while people died a few steps away. Blood on the sand was no more disturbing to them than spilled wine. And when the games ended, the elite didn't turn away. They leaned in. Roman nobles believed that gladiators possessed special energy. Sweat scraped from their bodies was sold as a beauty product for elite women. It was rubbed into the skin like a luxury cream, believed to bring youth and vitality. Violence, bottled and marketed. Death itself became a tool of power. Wealthy Romans regularly exposed unwanted infants, leaving them outside city walls to die or be taken by traffickers. This wasn't poverty-driven. It was convenience. Girls, disabled babies, or children born at inconvenient times were simply discarded. Philosophers defended it. Law permitted it. Compassion had no legal standing. Even parenting among the elite was unsettling. Fathers held absolute authority over their households. This included the legal right to kill their own children. While not common, the fact that it was allowed reveals how little emotional bonds mattered compared to control. Family was not about love. It was about legacy and obedience. And when elites grew bored, they sought stronger sensations. Some Roman aristocrats collected rare poisons, the way others collected art. Poisoning rivals was subtle, elegant, and socially acceptable if done quietly. Certain elite women were feared not for their beauty, but for their knowledge of toxins. Death became a refined skill. Sex, too, was stripped of intimacy. Elite Roman men often married for political advantage, not affection. Emotional attachment to one's wife was viewed with suspicion. Real pleasure, they believed, came from domination without consequence. Many elite households maintained networks of enslaved people specifically for sexual use. Abuse wasn't hidden. It was expected. And then there were the public humiliations. Romans loved spectacle, and shame was one of their favorite tools. Criminals and enemies were paraded naked through streets, mocked by crowds. Some were forced to reenact their crimes before execution, turning punishment into theater. The elite watched from shaded seats, entertained. Religion offered no mercy. Certain elite rituals involved an animal sacrifice on a massive scale. Blood flowed through temple floors while priests read omens and exposed organs. It was believed that power flowed from destruction. The gods, they thought, demanded it. Even medicine was cruel. Elite Roman doctors experimented freely on enslaved bodies. Surgery without anesthesia was common. Pain was not avoided. It was accepted. If someone died during treatment, it was considered unfortunate, not tragic. Progress mattered more than lives. And as Rome grew richer, its elite grew more detached. Some wealthy Romans built pleasure gardens where humans were hunted like animals for sport. These were not myths. They were exclusive entertainments for those powerful enough to escape consequences. For them, fear itself was luxury. Perhaps the most disturbing practice was how normal all of this felt. Roman elites did not see themselves as monsters. They believed they were superior beings, destined to rule because they could endure, inflict, and witness cruelty without hesitation. Empathy was weakness. Mercy was dangerous. And yet, Rome fell, not because of foreign invasion alone, but because a society that worships dominance eventually devours itself. The same cruelty that entertained the elite hollowed out loyalty, trust, and humanity. So when we admire the architecture, the philosophy, and the power of ancient Rome, we must remember this too. Beneath the marble and gold was a culture that normalized horror, dressed brutality in luxury, and called it civilization. And that may be the darkest lesson Rome ever left behind. Because when cruelty becomes tradition, it stops looking like evil. It starts looking like normal life.